I mean, it was not on my mind. I just wanted to get better. Better. And I think if you focus on being the best within yourself, all that stuff will come. Right. I hear people say, get your money on, get your money on. I hate that. I mean, and that's your motivation? If you do well, the money will come.
That's what I know.
You know what I mean? And quit focusing on the money.
Right.
Because it's not about the money. My love for comedy is just unbelievable.
Bernie Mac, from his real name, Bernard Jeffrey McCullough, was born on October 1957 in Chicago, Illinois. He was mostly raised by his single mother, his grandpa, and his grandma. He grew up going to church because of his grandpa, and he loved and respected his grandma because she taught him a lot about respect. Welcome to the Chino's Bazaar, and I am your host Zigo Chino, back with another documentary. And today we'll be talking about Bernie Mac's story, the rise of a king in comedy. And before we start, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below on the video. It helps the channel immensely. Thank you. So when Bernie Mac was 6 years old, he saw his mom crying, and from that own feeling, he discovered the power of comedy. He would sometimes put comedy on TV, and his mom and himself would start actually laughing, and that's when he discovered that that's what he wanted to truly do with his life. And that's where his dream of becoming a comedian also comes from. And at that time, they would watch Richard Pryor.
At least I don't have to look at them anymore.
Red Fox.
Let's pause here a moment. We'll drink a toast to human beings around the world and what makes them laugh.
And the Andy Griffith Show, with whom he started to do some imitations, and his grandma would literally slap him. Okay. And growing up, he made sure to stay out of trouble because of the famous epidemic that was going on at that time. He made really sure not to try anything until they got him. And the first time he really tried something, drugs, he ended up in the hospital just because of that. And they told him that whatever he took contained some angel dust. Soon after that, his mother died in 1973 when Bernie Mac was only 16 years old. And even though he was heartbroken, he was still strong enough to rise up. And with that power, he started telling jokes around school, in the street, in trains, and basically everywhere he could practice. Then he falls in love with his high school sweetheart, Rhonda Gore, in 1977. Then she gets pregnant, they get married, and they have a beautiful baby by the name of Janice, born in 1978. Then, during his 20s and throughout his early 30s, Mac worked tirelessly to always feed his family, and by that, he did many jobs, like working at General Motors, being a janitor, a coach, a professional mover, a cook, a bus driver, a Wonder Bread delivery man, a furniture mover, and a UPS agent. All of that while doing comedy on the weekends at clubs and parties. He was performing at the Chicago's Cotton Club, Zanies, and the Funny Firm. And while at the age of 28 years old, he learned some other very bad news. His grandma passes away. And then a year later, his grandpa also passes away. And they both raised him, so it must have hurt for him at that time. But even that didn't stop his comedy. He used that same power to always laugh it out and make it better for everybody. His skills started to get sharper and sharper, and as soon as he found his audience, he started to blow up more and more. He started going around clubs and performing more and more. Then, at the age of 32 years old, Bernie Mac wins the Miller Lite Comedy Search, where he wins $3,000. And his popularity started to grow more and more. More people were showing up to his shows. Then he appears in an episode of HBO's Def Comedy Jam with Martin Lawrence.
Give it up for my man Bernie Mac. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
and he started to open up for a bunch of new artists and comedians such as Diane Warwick and Natalie Cole. His first film was an appearance in Mo Money with Damon Wayans. Then he played a small role in House Party 3 as Uncle Lester in 1994.
So boy, you're getting mad, man. So tell me about your financier. She pretty?
Oh, my fiance.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Tell me
yeah.
about both of them.
Oh, she's very pretty.
Can she cook?
Oh, yes, she can cook.
Followed by that, in 1995, he was a recurrent character in a television show called Moika. He was always on the road, performing more comedy and have a bigger goal every time he performs. Then in his real personal life, he starts to live a situation that soon inspired him to write new gigs about the fact that he's left with his sister's kids to take care of. At the same time, he also joined fellow comedians such as Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley in the original King of Comedy, and then later on in the film of the original King of Comedy.
He on the corner waiting on the school bus. The school bus pull up, open the door. He walks up, asks a question.
And they started to tour literally everywhere around the country. Followed by that, he started acting in many roles and shows such as Midnight Mac, BAPS, Pastor Clever, Vico Friday, The Wiz, and The Players Club. Then comes The Bernie Mac Show in 2001, where Bernie Mac portrays a fictional version of himself.
Yes, y'all with kids, I want you to hear something. Listen. That's right. Quiet.
He used to break the fourth wall and talk directly to his audience about all of his issues while dealing with his sister's children that now live with him. The show was a huge success among millions of people around the world, and it's basically many parodies from Bernie Mac's real life story. And that led him to be in the 2001 Ocean's 11 and then Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Don't you worry about a thing. Nobody named Old Grady ever set foot in South Central. Can you dig it? Yeah, this is my mama's house. Rule number 1. Don't look in that. You understand me? And she a pop. Can you dig it?
Bosley!
Yes, ma'am.
You get over here.
Hey, Mom.
Kind of trouble you in there?
I'm not in trouble. Yes, ma'am.
In the 2003 National League Championship Series, Bernie Mac sang a song called Take Me Out of the Ballgame at Wrigley Field. And during the game between the Cubs and the Ford Marlins, it was believed that Bernie Mac actually cursed or jinxed the Cubs to actually lose. And by the end of the game, they actually lost. And during later years, he actually said that he hated the Cubs since forever. And since he didn't jinx them, no nothing, he was actually glad to see them lose. So relax, no jinxing in here.
Okay.
In 2004, a problem occurred for Bernie Mac. After filming Ocean's 12 in the summer of 2004, Mac contracted pneumonia in both lungs and suffered from exhaustion. So the Fox held production for 4 weeks so that Mac can recover before the season 4 of the Bernie Mac show. And after many seasons, the show does not get renewed after the 2006 season and the final episode, which aired on April of that year. But as I said, the show was so likable and admirable that he won an Emmy for Outstanding Writing. Then he got the Peabody Award for Excellence in Broadcasting and the Humanitas Prize for television that promotes human dignity. Bernie Mac's character was ranked number 47 in TV's Guide's list of the 50 greatest TV dads of all time. And during those years, he also co-starred in roles in Bad Santa, Head of State, Mr. 3000, and guess who? The remake to Who's Coming to Dinner. Then he also showed up in Transformers as the car salesman Bobby Bolivia. On March 2007, Bernie Mac appears on the David Letterman show, and he said that he would like to actually retire from his 30-year-old career after he finishes shooting the comedy film The Whole Truth, Nothing But the Truth, So Help Me Mac. He tells Letterman, and I quote, "I missed a lot of things, I was a street performer for 2 years. I went into clubs in 1977 and was on the road 47 weeks of the year. And in the final 20 years of life of Bernie Mac, he always publicly said that he had severe sarcoidosis, a disease of an unknown origin that causes inflammations in the tissue. Then on July 2008, Bernie Mac is admitted into the hospital in his hometown of Chicago, and after being treated for 3 weeks, he dies in the morning of August 9 at the age of 50 years old.
Well, he was a hometown favorite. He was from Chicago. I watched his show. I liked him on Kings of Comedy, and he was good for black men. That's why I feel. And it's sad that he died so young. I'm 39, and 50. You know, that's a young age, man. He grew up. I think he went to public schools, everything. So he came up. He was a positive. He came up through the city as a positive person, and he was a good image for black men.
Bernie's public memorial was held a week after his death at the House of Hope Church with almost 7,000 people that showed up. Some of them were people like Chris Rock, Chicago's mayor, Richard Daley, Samuel L. Jackson, Ashton Kutcher, Don Chidley, the cast members from the Bernie Mac show, and his buddies, the Kings of Comedy.
It's definitely an honor to be here to pay respect to the family and my brother Bernie. You know, I knew it was going to, I mean, this dude is a very, very popular guy. I mean, y'all know, I'm good to see everybody here, but y'all know y'all was calling me like, say, let me get 4 tickets to the funeral, man. I was like, now that don't make no sense right there. He's still the hottest ticket in town. That is.
After his death, 2 movies got released and were entirely dedicated to him, which were Salman with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. You know something, son? You're real crafty.
Appreciate that.
And Madagascar Escape to Africa. Then followed by a third one a year later called Old Dogs. 2008 in Chicago, the Bud Billiken Parade was dedicated to his memory. And on the day of the funeral, his hometown's local TV station aired an exclusive TV special called A Tribute to Bernie Mac. And he had many appearances and interviews from various former colleagues such as Chris Rock, Joe Torre, Cameron Diaz, Don Chidley, and some of his family members and friends. In November 2016, the Steve Harvey TV show aired a special episode where he read a proclamation from Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel proclaiming November 14 as the Bernie Mac Day. And during that episode, guests such as Bernie's wife, his daughter, granddaughter, Cedric the Entertainer, and Guy Torre were present for this special event. 2017, Rolling Stone named Bernie Mac number 41 out of 50 of best stand-up comedians of all time. Throughout his life, Bernie Mac did a lot of things. He went from a janitor to a coach, to a professional mover, to a cook, to a bus driver, to a Wonder Bread delivery man, to a furniture mover, and to a UPS agent, to comedian, to stand-up comedian, to TV star, to movie star, and to, finally, a real star. This man is a true definition of perseverance and hard work and hunger for more, to achieve more goals, to be better, and to make people laugh while being a true king. We have to respect and protect his legacy for the future so that a big name like Bernie Mac goes down in history. This was the story of the Bernie Mac, one of the kings of comedy. Thank you for watching this little documentary, guys. I personally really love Bernie Mac growing up. I've been watching a whole bunch of his content since I was this tiny little, and he's been always an inspiration to me. Hope you guys like this format. Let me know down in the comments below how do you feel about this documentary video. And if you're still here, I would like you to comment the Mac down below. Thank you for watching. Until then, see you in the next video.